Mountaineer Legends pregame. Few difficulties there, technical difficulties, Boomer. But I'm going to tell you what, we're just happy to have you here right now. Freddie Smalls, you know, hey, when I say boom all the time, you said, hey, Wolf, that's my spiel, man. And I'm just like, I was trying to say boom to make an exclamation point on it. But you know what? That's what you always did.
But I love it. I love it, though. I love it because you put a lot of enthusiasm behind it.
Talking to Mike.
You put a lot of enthusiasm behind it. It's like, boom! And I love it. I said, yeah, it's Wolf. Keeping the name alive, man. Just keeping me alive.
Yeah, you know what? It is special when I think about you and your career. You played with my brother Ronnie, and talk about legends. You are a Mountaineer legend. Before I even get to the backyard brawl, you know what I got to talk about right now. We got to talk about what?
I said about your brother. Your brother is who made me the linebacker that I was. I had to beat Wolf. If I couldn't take Wolf on, I couldn't play. Because he was a person that gave me a lot of trouble when I came. I couldn't get through Wolf. People always moved me out of the way. And Nealon told me, when you can stagnate Wolfley, you'll play.
Yeah.
My junior year, I hit him, stopped him, and Nealon gave me the position.
As you said, Ronnie, my brother, Ronnie Brawl.
Ron Wolfley was
pony boy that I call.
If I can stop when we take on block, if I can take Ron Wolfley on, because I always lose against him for 2 years, I never beat this guy. He said, when you beat Ron Wolfley, you would play. I came back my junior year and finally stopped Ron, and Coach me gave me the job. That's a true story.
Give us a little bit brief history on, when you came to West Virginia, who you're under. I know you're under Coach Nalen as well, but go ahead and tell us about it. You were Coach Nalen, right?
Yeah, Coach Nalen was my coach. Coach Brown was the defensive coordinator at the time.
Yeah, talking to the microphone, brother.
Coach Brown was the
there you go.
defensive coordinator at the time. Coach Rod Simmons was Darryl Talley's coach and my coach. Steve Hafford, coach, outside linebacker coach. Also, Coach Kashula was here, and Coach Coach Kashula was a running back coach, and really, when we hear it, Marc Brawl, Andre Gist, some of the legends, the old legend guys, Big Joe's. I mean, some real tough guys.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think Big Joe's is prettier now, or was he prettier then?
He's much bigger now.
He's prettier now.
Yeah, well, Joe's got that name when he gave Bruce Smith a number one day. Bruce Smith came in and thought he was everything, number one defensive player in the country, and Brian Jozuak gave him a scare that day.
Yeah, he sure did. In fact,
that's what made Jones.
Is that what made him? That's what made him up there to get first round draft pick, right?
Bruce Smith didn't get a sack that game, but Jones was up in his grill all game. His grill, man.
Hey, DT, come on, man, hop on. Let's go. So, all right, hey, Bulger, let's go. Let's talk about the 4 games that Doug Flutie never beat the Mountaineers, because I know you were a part of that. Let's talk about it.
Well, got my mentor here. This is the guy that I definitely model a lot after. I definitely watched this guy, learned a lot from him. Always was somebody I classified, and I kind of modified my game, just like Darryl. I played just like Darryl and you, kept it in that kind of class, and it worked out for me, definitely.
So, DT, you were his mentor, man. What did you think of Boomer?
Boomer had all the skills, man. He could run, he could hit, and the thing of it was, the only thing I said, he may be a little light. That would have been the only thing. He needed a few more rocks in his pocket like I did. I had to have a few rocks added in my pocket, a 5-pound plate to step on the scale to make sure I weighed enough.
Wait a second. Now, I got to tell you.
Darryl technique was unbelievable. His leverage. And his technique was just unbelievable because of the leverage. Nobody ever got here on him, ever. His hand speed, his feet speed was always leverage. There was always separation. And he was quick as hell. He ran a damn 4.4, 4.5. 40, I mean, at that time.
How fast were you?
I'm 4.5, but he was faster than me.
Do you know that I was 4.5?
Yeah.
No.
With sundial.
But did you come in as a fullback or you came in as a team?
Well, I was offensive lineman then, yeah. So let's talk about that Doug Flutie. 4 years. They never beat Mountaineers. He was a champion quarterback. 1984 specifically, that game. How many sacks do you have?
I had 3 that game.
You had 3 sacks on Doug Flutie.
Right.
That's pretty good.
I mean, all the years I got to study him through him. The 2 years I got to watch him. I got to watch what he does. I watched how he reverses out. I watched how he sets his angles up. So I had 2 years behind Darryl and Eddie and Steve Hathaway to watch for him. So when it came time to play him, I knew exactly what he does. Just studied him.
Okay, so DT, we're gonna move on. Let's move on to the backyard brawl. I know you had them. What's your thoughts on it? What would you tell these players that haven't played in the backyard brawl?
Well,
what's their inspiration?
Talley gave me a touchdown and I messed up. Let me tell you, Wack came over and said, I gave it to you, man. You didn't want it. Talley blocks the punt. We both there. Talley gets it. It's floating in the end zone. I goes and pick it up. It slips out of my hand, and Wack says, give it to me. I got it.
Butterfingers.
He blocks the punt. It's sitting for me. I go to pick it up. Don't want it. Some rookie mistake. And the senior comes, move me out of the way, and he gets it.
Opportunist.
Opportunity. Said you had it. It's your touchdown.
So what are you gonna say to these players to give them inspiration about the backyard brawl? What does it mean?
Well, the back row ball to me, I always brag on the game when we played Pitt. We were winning, but we lost in the late times. And I always tell people the most dominant game that I ever seen Darryl play is when they had Jimbo Covert, they had Bill Frelick, and I watched Darryl Talley mastermind destroy them 2 individuals. Both of them was first-round draft picks. Bill Frelick was the #1 pick. And Talley, that's the game he blocked the punt. Had the most fearless, dominant game as a linebacker that I've ever seen. Hey, we were winning. We lost that game like in the last 6 minutes. We up 13-0. We finally had Marino, but he hit Dwight Collins with one and he hit Julius Dawkins with the other. But that's the game that I remember so much. And my inspiration, all these young kids, man, go hard. Go hard. Believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, believe in God to give you yourself. Stay strong, stay focused, work hard. It might not go your way, but it'll go some way in some good way. You build up your self-esteem, self-confidence, keep on grinding. Get away from negative people, stay away from negative company, stay away from negative family, stay from any negative, and stay around your positive crowd. Keep your circle positive, and your circle will guide you through the right path in the right direction. That's my encouragement to all these kids, not just on the field. Because off the field, I was a trouble kid. I came here as a trouble kid more than when Nealon was.
Really? You were really troubled? I'm sorry.
I gave Coach some trouble.
Coach Ford went into overtime. David Riley went into overtime with you.
Right. And I just think when I came to West Virginia, I came from the streets of Philadelphia and didn't have that guidance. And my guidance when I came to Morgantown came from these guys. I had never had big brothers. I came from the streets where we don't trust anybody. And that's what you see now. I was living that life, what we see now. So I didn't know how to trust anyone. I didn't understand what was friendship and what was teammates until I came to Morgantown. And I had to learn to let my guard down, and I had to learn to let somebody come in my life.
You had to let people in. You
Exactly.
had to learn to let people in.
I had to let people in.
All right. Well, hey, listen, man. Thanks for stopping by here. We're gonna go to a Parmar commercial, but but great. I'd love to see you, man. Well, what's your thing? Your message?
My message, Bishop Boone from the upper room: keep God first.
Bishop Boom from the upper room.
Keep
God first. That's great, brother. I love you, man. Hey, next coming up, we're gonna have DT here. We're gonna go ahead and put Hugh Green from the other side, the legendary Hugh Green, 3-time consensus All-American.
Yes.
He's pretty much a bad dude this time. Let's see what Hugh and
Number 99.
DT have to say to each other as they get on the air. So, hey, check out this commercial, and then we're going to get them on. There we go.
Peace.
Hi, my name is Wyatt Milam, and I'm from Canova, West Virginia. When I'm back home in Canova, you will find me at my local Parmar store. We had that golden blue pride at Parmar. There are literally hundreds of Parmar stores in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and even more on the way. Download the Parmar app to save even more. And whether it's food, gas, groceries, or whatever, we have you covered at Parmar. West Virginia proud and ready to serve you. And if there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
All he does is catch the football.
That is beautiful. That's why I came to West Virginia, man.
Ding dong, the witch is dead in Arizona.
It's a totally energized Heinz Field, the power of the Renegade song.
The backyard brawl, man, against Pitt. Look at that. Oh, there's Ron Wolfley.
Wow! They came after Donovan McNabb, went after him, they played to win the game.
Everybody's going bonkers, even the referees.
Oh, those look like some sticky gloves right there. We talk about 50-50. Right now it's 50-50. Who's going to get it?
Game came with cover zero, man across the board.
Pick up a flag because, hey, and then with the Renegade song, even flags don't count.
They're going to get an Italian army behind them right there, just like Franco Harris.
My goodness, that is pure guts.
Give me a pepperoni roll, man. Okay, we are back. Well, this is the Mountaineer
from West Virginia, right?
Mountaineer
Yes, this is true.
Hey, sponsored by Parmar Stores. We got the Tap House in Morgantown. We got Matheny Motors. Really happy to sponsor this opportunity. This right here really is something that you're not going to see every day. And that is here, you got Darryl Talley, Mountaineer legend, but we also got a Pittsburgh Panther legend. Caused a lot of problems for Mountaineers and a whole lot of people through college and the NFL. Hugh Green. Hugh, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. It's a great day.
It's a great day, huh?
Great day.
Well, very good. Now, I'm going to sit here and take this. Hey, DT, what do you think here when you're looking over at Hugh Green? Because when Darryl did what the backyard brawl means to him, he meant and talked about your performance on the field and that he had to have, for him to have success, he had to play up or close to your type level. You know, what does that say about a guy like Darryl Talley talking about you, especially as a Pitt Panther?
Well, myself and Darryl go a long way back. There are some advantages that I had on this end, but all the advantages got switched in the pro version. Darryl, very competitive. During the different times, we were marketing the defensive end version or the outside linebacker version, and he emulated just what he saw in the productivity that was being done in that time in that era, which made him the player and person that he is.
Well, right. DT, what about you, man? What do you think about this guy here to your right?
Let's put it this way. He set the standards for what should be done in college as a college football player and as an outside linebacker, because what I watched he and Ricky do, I had to try and compete with on a daily basis, because back then all we had was the newspaper. We didn't have the internet. You got to remember, we're old. So I look in the paper, I see what his clippings were, what he did, what Ricky did, what Larry Cuban did, what all of these guys did. And I looked at it and I went, okay, well, I beat him this week, I beat him this week. I didn't get him this week. So the next week I got to beat him and I got to beat the next guy. So basically I made it a competition about all the great linebackers that were in Independent East back then, and we had a bunch of them. I mean, anytime you got linebackers that can run and change the game, that is huge. And we had a bunch of game-changing linebackers in the league at that time.
You know, the Pitt defense was so tough back then. It was on the national stage you're in, especially the years that you were there, and all the sacks that you had with Ricky on the other side. What was it like with the two of you? What was your thought process? How did you attack the offense knowing that you two had some really special talents?
Well, a lot of times in first beginning, a lot of people, some would challenge me and some wouldn't. But all we would do is face the facts. A lot of times people would go to Ricky, but that would be the worst thing that you could do. Ricky was very competitive. He was like Darryl. He read the stat line on what was done this week and what was done that week. And
he was in the process where he was trying to get respect from the different people that we played, especially the 2 years that he had a chance to with mine and his combination put it together. It was learning unto my actually if you go and you look at our defense, Ricky was the payload. Ricky was the aggressor. Unto my I had an X on my back, so I competed in that way. I competed to put myself in a position to always stay ahead of the coordinator and players themselves. So I always had an X. A lot of times Ricky was non and void where people would think that okay, well, we can't run Hugh, we're gonna attack Ricky. And that would be the largest mistake that they could make.
Yeah, they ran away from,
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa, right? Okay, so let's get to it, man. You're a Pitt Panther. You're proud to be a Pitt Panther. It's a storied program, but we don't like them 90 miles south of them on the football field. And you don't like the Mountaineers, I'm assuming anyways. What is your thought process that you feel? What is your passion when you talk about the backyard brawl?
The backyard brawl was, I can tell you stories. I remember it was my junior year or my sophomore year. And, we end up, one of the key things is that we end up being 4-0 against them through our process of school. So this one particular year, they used to do all kinds of little wild things. But besides Darryl, you all had another outside linebacker, which was in my class with Delbert Fowler Tree. So I spent a lot of time with him, Xing and Owen. But this one particular year, we had played you all and we had beat them. And we couldn't leave the stadium because one of the guys, gentleman that was in the crowd, had climbed up under the bus. And so we had to sit there for about 45 to 50 minutes. And finally, the police came, and then what they did is, because every time they would try to retrieve him, he would go the opposite. So they end up sending for some police dogs. And that's how they got him from up under the bus. So we can go. Other stories like that.
That's a good story, though.
Yeah,
Good,
stories like that, being very competitive and making sure that we played them, put ourselves in a position to play them and put them in position so our offense could take advantage of it. This one particular year, we warmed up in the corner as the defensive ends, and me and Ricky were doing it. And I had my helmet off. And I looked at Ricky and I said, you know what? I think this is the wrong thing to do. And sure enough, just as I put my helmet on, a screw come out of the crowd and hit me dead in the top of the helmet. I was like, yeah, you got to watch that.
And you were in our pit, obviously.
No, we were each and every time we was at West Virginia. But again, very competitive. Yeah, backyard brawl was the history of. If you look at highlights, how physical it was, it was the best of the best playing against, and the bragging rights because we were so close. And we emphasized that we needed to and wanted to take care of our backyard, and West Virginia was part of our backyard.
Right, DT. When you look at here, you and all these memories are coming back to you, man. What are your feelings right now?
Frustration. I mean, it was truly frustrating. It was a lot of fun to play against these guys because they truly brought the best out in you. They made you do whatever you had to do to win. And you would try and do anything to win, to beat them. See, I was that person that was 0-4. See, I was 0-4, 4-0.
Yeah.
See, I know what it's like to be on the losing end of that battle. And I'm still looking up going, how in the Sam do you get it done? The other thing I think that made it so close, or the rivalry so tight, is that we had a lot of guys that were vying to do the same thing. Because when you say outside linebackers, it's like you guys had two, we had two. Then you had Robert Brown at Virginia Tech. And we had guys that were there that could play.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that guys couldn't play. You went out each and every Saturday to watch the film to see where you stacked up with everybody in the conference. Because you got to remember now, 2 years in a row, Pitt and Penn State won national championships back to back.
Yeah.
And guess what? Little West Virginia ain't won squat yet. And we still going up in there taking hands with the same shots.
Okay, so let's flip it up to modern day. 105th meeting tonight. Okay, going on at Acrisure Stadium. It looks to me like it's going to be kind of a battle of the boxes, battle of the trenches. Pitt's strengths are their offensive line, defense, right in the box there, backers. And, what do you see tonight for the keys to success for what's going to happen? Who's going to be the victor?
Well, one thing about it is that we're experimenting with the interchange of a new quarterback. But the key to this whole thing is that finally, after 3 years, 4 years, our defense had finally developed. They finally come in with some defensive ends that they think can get the job done. Tonight will be that turn-up test to see can they do it. And right. I have questions, and everybody else have questions. So I'm looking for them to do it. I spoke to the team last night, and I told them, I'm waiting to see this defense. I'm waiting to see this defense control and put themselves in position where they always one up on the downage, on the yard marker. You go by downs, first, second, and third. Second and 10, if they can keep them there, or threes and outs, then defense is winning the battle. And I think that's the main layer of what we're trying to do, besides throw the ball to one of our great receivers. But past that, it's going to be a defensive battle tonight. I see that.
All right. Hey, I don't want to keep you any longer, but it's really a photo shot right here. I'm seeing you, DT here, two tough, stalwart, gridiron gladiators, man, that went at it for years and had great success, respecting each other, respecting the game.
Let me make this other comment. When we were coming, myself and Ricky, and we got here, I said, we're in enemy country. Ricky looked at me, how in the hell we in enemy country when we're in Pittsburgh?
Hey, so true, man. So true. Well, very good. Hey, Hugh, thanks a lot, man. Okay,
thank you, guys.
Enjoy the
Thank you for having me come.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to hear from the other side, especially a guy who's done the battle, been in the trenches, and had the great success to do that.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so
Hail the
return.
Pit.
Oh, we had to get that in. So I'm just going to have to say hail WV now. This could be the last word. We're going to have Andy Peters on the flip side when we return. Mountaineer Legends pregame, sponsored by Parmar Stores.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Casey Legg, and I'm from Charleston, West Virginia. And when I'm back home in Charleston, you will find me at my local Parmar store.
We had that go pride at Parmar. There are literally hundreds of Parmar stores in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and even more on the way. Download the Par app to save even more. And whether it's food, gas, groceries, or whatever, we have you covered at Parmar. West Virginia proud and ready to serve you.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Where do the true gold and blue faithful go for the best in beer, burgers, pizza, wings, and more? It's the Mountaineer Tap House on the Evansdale campus. Mountaineer Tap House features well over 40 craft beers on tap, plus the best appetizers, salads, burgers, wings, pizza, and tacos the University City has to offer. Enjoy their exclusive craft cocktails too. Dine on the balcony or chill out inside with walls and walls of TVs. Follow Mountaineer Tap House on social media. Mountaineer Tap House, second floor above the Parmar store on the Evansdale campus.
Okay, let's get up. And we are back to the Mountaineer Legends pregame, and now we're talking about real legends here. This is a North Pittsburgh boy from 1975, the game I want to say we'll set it up on national TV on ABC. Andy Peters. And Andy, you were a defensive end, am I right? Or
You are correct, Wolf.
okay, I am correct. And that 75 game was really special. And I think it's so important that people go back and understand what was going on. So I want you to set it up, kick it off, and deliver it and execute the story. Because I've been pumping this, Joe's, for a while. And you talked to Andy, and I said, listen, you got to listen to this cat's story, because this goes back before the Don Nalen era. This goes back to, we talk about with Coach Bobby Bowden and all the other coaches previously. So this history is way more than just the new era, say 40 years. This is 104 years. Tonight, 105 years. And this is the backyard brawl. So someone who played in 1975, where's your passion level at right now?
Give me a helmet. I'm ready to play. Right?
Give me a helmet.
I mean, when I signed my letter of intent for WVU, I circled the dates that we were playing Pittsburgh and Penn State. I mean, I couldn't wait. My parents' living room, you could look out our window and see the Cathedral Learning, right? And I must admit, I had some interest in going to Pitt. But thank God my cousin married this All-American that played at Pitt and was the #1 draft choice of the Steelers. And he said, don't go to Pitt. There have been 1 in 10 the last 3 years in a row. He goes, who else is recruiting? I said, all these different schools. And he goes, what about West Virginia? He goes, my brother played defensive back at West Virginia, Richie Martha. He goes, you ought to go to West Virginia. I said, I'm going to West Virginia. And all fell into place. But the backyard brawl in 75 was the pinnacle of the players of my era's career, right? That game meant so much to us. And it's all about stopping Tony Dorsett. Dorsett had smoked us our sophomore and junior years, right? And we had to figure out a way to beat him. So we had some really good coaches. Chuck Clausing was our defensive coordinator. Donnie Young, who you guys know very well.
Coach Young, God rest his soul. We love him.
Yep. And Steve Dunlap was my middle linebacker, who you guys know very well, right?
Well, now wait a second. Before we move any farther, let's talk about Steve Dunlap, because he recruited me to West Virginia, and he talked about this, and then he talked so fast, and we hit there, we hit that, we hit there, we had to run this way, that way. I mean, he had a lot of tackles. His body moved almost as fast as his mouth. Yeah. How was Steve Dunlap to you as a player?
Steve started off a little bit slow. We thought, this guy, I just don't know if he's going to make it. But boy, he came on pretty quick after that, and he was a tackling machine. Fantastic teammate, excellent friend. He was a great player. Yeah. I think he set the record against Boston College. It's like 16 unassisted tackles or something like that in the game.
I think he qualified for Mountaineer Legends. What do you think?
Well, he's in the Hall of Fame now. But listen, I'm going to say this. I think that whoever was recording tackles, every time he fell on a pile, I think they gave him a tackle. Because when he started getting 16 unassisted, oh, my goodness, you're all over the place. Well, let's continue on the 75 backyard brawl. That was for Coach Dunlap for recruiting me to WVU. So I'll give him that shout out, and I thank you for that. But let's talk that 75.
Yeah, so to set up the 75 season, we had gone 4-7 the year before. So for 75, Street and Smith predicted us to be 1 in 10. Right, so we started off our season with 4 wins in a row. We beat Temple, we beat Boston College, we went out to the University of California and beat Chuck Muncie and those guys. 28-10, we knocked Muncie out in the second quarter. So 4-0, and then we roll into Penn State, top 10 in the country. They're in the top 10 in the country, and Penn State beat us twice. So we lost to them, we lost to Tulane. So then Pitt rolls around, and we're 6-2, and they're 6-2, and this game's going to make our season, right? So we were so prepared, so fired up. This is my last chance at them. 6 of our starters are in defense. We're from Pittsburgh. 3 of the offensive linemen were from Pittsburgh. We had more players from Pittsburgh playing for West Virginia than Pitt did. We wanted to beat them bad, right? So a lot of great senior leadership. So it happened to be Bobby Bowden's birthday that day. Right? A nice, cool November day. And then ABC's there, and you get introduced back in the day when he introduced each individual player. So run out, get introduced, kickoff. We're just going at it, both teams, scoreless at halftime, 0-0. How about that, right? We're holding Dorset. Dorset's big play was the option. So our defensive staff said, hey, deny Dorset the pitch. And we had a safety from Amstead, West Virginia, Tom Pridemore, played for the Falcons for about 8 years.
Big Tommy P.
And this was Kavanaugh's first start. So I'd go out, deny Dorset the pitch, and Pridemore came up and just leveled Kavanaugh, leveled him. So they quit running that play. So they had to run more inside. We held Dorset to 107 yards rushing, his lowest total for that entire season that game.
Now, what happened the week before with Pitt? Didn't they go into Notre Dame, something like that?
The week after our game.
The week after.
They played Notre Dame, and he set the NCAA rushing record, over 300 yards rushing. So they looked at our film, and they must have said, hey, I don't know. We got better athletes in Notre Dame. We don't have to worry about the scheme. It didn't work out too well for them.
So all these years that I have talked to you, I have said that you are the most penalized defensive player for the Mountaineers, mainly because you used to, you're from the 75 era, so the spear was still pretty alive back then, and you used to like to go a little in the spear section there, a little bit of maybe some fish hunting.
This is what I've been waiting for. All right, Wolf's been talking to me about you, Andy, and he's been saying you got this big story, and every time I asked him about what it might be, he's you just got to wait until he unleashes this at the live stream. So I'm tickled to hear this story. Please.
Well, defensive player, we're very emotional, right? And played with our heart on our sleeve, and there were times I would take the opportunity to inflict pain, and I quite enjoyed that, right? So we're playing against Virginia Tech, and it was a really tight game, and they had a running back that was pretty good, and I had the opportunity to spear him in the back, so I speared him in the back and put him out of commission for the rest of the game. And they didn't like that very much, right? So they came after me on punt returns, trying to knock my head off, but I was safe. And then probably my most satisfying penalty was against Penn State. They're beating us 39-0, and Paterno still has John Andrus, the quarterback in the game, and he just let go of the ball, and I put my helmet in his ribs, and boy, it felt so good to hear the crack, right, and his ribs just explode, and he was done for, I think, the season, or 3 or 4 games at least, right? So, my wife describes my penalties more like Joe Greenish, right? It's like, being very aggressive, Every once in a while, I get caught for like a retaliatory type thing, but I tried to be more strategic, pick the right spots to put somebody out of the game. It's going to help the Mountaineers win, right?
I've never heard it put my most satisfying penalty ever. I mean, I'm sitting here trying to analyze that and think about it. It's like, I love it. I just love it because it's the game. It's a violent. I mean, a lot of that stuff, obviously, in today's world, you wouldn't get away with, all right? But back then, back in the day, when you could jam like that, hey, you took every shot you could, because that's the way the game is. It's mean and it's nasty, and we're going to take care of business.
Yeah. I mean, back when I played, you led with your face mask and your helmet, right? And we used to have contests to see who could break their face mask, right? So we would try and run down on kickoffs or during just a regular play to see if we could break our face mask on somebody, right?
That's very encouraging to hear on the day of the 105th Backyard Brawl. Andy, let's talk about what's going on now. Right now you are currently here in the Pittsburgh area, so you're familiar. You stayed in touch. I mean, you've come back to WVU many times. What's your take on the game tonight?
I think I have that Clemson feeling. So the last time you interviewed me live was before the Orange Bowl, when we beat Clemson by scoring over 70 points, right? So here you are, you have me here again today, only the second time in my life that I've been interviewed live by Dale Wolfley. I think it's like deja vu, right? I think this is going to be Clemson WVU. I think we're going to put it on those guys, and we wake up in the morning, they're going to say WVU just scored another touchdown.
Well, you know what? I like to hear that. How about you, Joe?
You know what? I like it. And me, I'm always the optimist. And, of course, you cut the vein, I bleed blue and gold. So I want them to win, too. But they really do have a legitimate opportunity to get this game. And, I mean, you know, they got to play mistake-free football. You know, the quarterback's got to be hot. Offensive line's got to do their job. Defense has got to stop them. I mean, that's all stuff that we all know about. Yeah. But, you know, we do have a legitimate opportunity tonight.
We do, and I think that we're going to see a lot of growth in our players from when we last saw them against Minnesota to tonight with the time at practice and in the weight room and all the drills they've been doing. I think they're going to be playing at a different level, and they focused on this game. They've had a countdown clock, right? So they're ready for it. I think, you know, Kurlavich being a guest speaker and all the other guest speakers coming in and talking about the Brawl, because these kids were 5, 6, 7 years old. I think that Brown has done a really good job with kind of teeing this game up, and they understand. I love what Pac-Man did on 93.7 The Fan today, right, which you probably read about on Twitter, and I can't say in your broadcast because they had to cut him off on the radio. But he displayed the WVU passion, man. It was awesome.
No doubt. Pac-Man. Well, what would you expect?
That's right. That's what I expected.
Okay, Andy. Any prediction for the score tonight? I see that you and Donnie, you're ready to go. You look the same. You're ready. You're Mountaineers. You're gonna have to be careful there too. You better be sure you're surrounded by a whole bunch of Mountaineer fans. Apparently, there's gonna be a lot there.
Yeah. I'm not worried about that, and I can't wait for the first Pitt fan to say 13-9. So I'm going to say 17-14. They're going to go, what the hell's that? I said, Bill McKenzie, man, last walk-off game-winning field goal, we beat you. And it was the last loss you had before you ran the table the next year. So we beat your national championship team.
All right. Very good. Listen, Andy, thank you so much, man. I know 75, it goes way back. This is 105th edition of the Backyard Brawl, and it doesn't matter when you played, Joe's. It's about the passion. It's about the dislike, and it's about really maybe cracking a few things that I hear him popping, according to Andy Peters.
Oh, absolutely. I guess part of the good news is I was having a chat with Big John Ray, and, of course, his son is on the offensive line there at West Virginia, a young guy. There's a lot of young guys on the offense this year. So, you know, the good news is the experience is up front. But I was talking to John, Big John, and he was telling me that, you know, during the walkthrough before they got out of here to head up to Pittsburgh yesterday, it was clean, it was focused. Everybody was on point. You could feel the attitude, you know, and again, like you said, Andy, you know, granted, they haven't played in the Brawl, but leading up to this, and probably for the last month, this game has been on everybody's tongue. This is the game. This sets the stage probably for the entire year, in my opinion, for each team. And it's a big, important game for us, renewing this thing. But more importantly is going out and playing every play. Yep.
All righty. With that being said, hopefully Mike Collins is out there, former captain, Mountaineers, living in Minnesota. Now he's returning. He's going to give us his thoughts, his breakdown of the Backyard Brawl after this commercial.
Hi, I'm Sean Martin. I'm from Bluefield, West Virginia. And when I'm back home in Mercer County, you will find me at my local Par-Mar store.
We had that gold and blue pride at Par-Mar. There are literally hundreds of Par-Mar stores in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and even more on the way. Download the Par-Mar app to save even more. And whether it's food, gas, groceries, or whatever, we have you covered at Par-Mar. West Virginia proud, West Virginia strong, and ready to serve you.
If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
What does the Pitt game mean to me? I was offered a scholarship. I didn't sign there, so I wanted to make sure I went somewhere where I would play them 4 straight games. And guess what? I went to West Virginia and won 4 straight games.
And we are back again with Brian Jozuak, Big Bad Joe's, here on Mountaineer Legends pregame. And now, special guest who will be joining us at games throughout this season, Michael Collins, Captain Michael Collins, with the biggest shoulder pads back in the 90s that I can remember. Because, big shoulder pads meant you were a hitter. Old Danny Neal in there setting you up there at safety, brother. How you doing today?
I'm great. And obviously, I use those shoulder pads. I used them.
You used them. I'm telling you, you used to like to stick your nose in other people's business, especially the opposing teams, man. How's it going here? What's happening?
Man, it's great. I'm really excited about today. It's been too long. 11 years with us not playing Pittsburgh. Been way too long. But last year, playing Virginia Tech, getting back, playing some of our traditional rivals, just great day today. It's really good day for college football, actually.
Really good day for when you think about all that's going on, conference realignment, all that's happening. We're going to bring the West Coast to the middle of the country, and we're going to go here to the Southeast, out to the Midwest, Big 12, and all that, and all the NIL, and all of the transfer portal. This brings us home a little bit.
It really does.
The backyard brawl.
It really does. It's what the college sports experience, college football, it's what it's about. It's playing your rivals, playing the teams that you know, the regional rivals, the neighbors. You have the one neighbor that goes to the University of Pittsburgh. You have the other neighbor that has her kid that goes to West Virginia University. That's what's good about college athletics. The other stuff, it's changing the game, but let's keep it real. Change is inevitable, and we have to move with the changes. But it's nice to have this game today. It's wonderful. It really is.
What do you think, Joe's?
Brother, I quit thinking. I'm ready to play. Let's just play the game. All the talk, all the hype, all the predictions. Let's just play the game. And it is a great day in college football to see this rivalry, reborn. Because first of all, for the fans, we haven't played, a real close to home game in quite a while, and to bring back both Pitt and Virginia Tech in the same year is very exciting. It renews that, and I'm excited for the Mountaineer fan.
I agree. And that's what's great about playing the Virginia Techs, playing the Pitts, and again next year playing Penn State, getting these teams that playing Maryland a few years ago, these teams that are traditional regional rivals. That's what's good for the fan. I lived in Minnesota. So I could go to the Iowa State game. It was a 3.5-hour, 4-hour drive, but I could go to the Iowa State game in Ames, Iowa. Somebody else from Huntington, West Virginia is not going to be able to make that drive. And that's what's Big 12 is great for West Virginia football, don't get me wrong, but that's the one piece that's missing is we don't have that ability for our fans to get to the games, to create those rivalries, to be able to, take the day trip or the overnight trip and get back, playing those schools and having that experience. That's the one thing that we kind of lack in the Big 12.
Yeah, I agree. Now, talking about the game tonight, I want to hear your take, being a DB and such. We had such a turnover in our secondary with portal transfers and bringing new guys in. In my opinion, as an offensive lineman, when I look out there, you guys are all working together in coverage situations and such, but it's an individual position. You got to handle your job. As an offensive lineman, we got guys that are working together, and it takes time to kind of season that a little bit to know what the guy next to you is doing. How's it going to work tonight with all these newbies, so to speak, back there? How are they going to get it done?
If I'm going to be honest, it's going to come down to coaching. Let's be honest. The coach is going to have to get those kids, just like you're saying, Joe. There's a lot of moving pieces. And the way they play their defense at 3-3-5, there's 5 defensive backs. And really, though, it's 4 defensive backs with a hybrid linebacker safety position. But that coach is going to have to really work those kids, and it's going to show today. It's going to show throughout the season because Yeah, it's the transfer portal giveth, the transfer portal taketh away. We've had some guys leave, and we've got some guys come in. We've got this turnover. So the coach is really going to have to earn his money, not only tonight, but for the remainder of the season, on getting these kids to play together, getting them on the same page, making them understand their assignments. At the same time, if you're truly identifying players within the transfer portal, then hopefully they've identified a kid that he's going to be able to come in, he's going to be able to pick these things up, and he's going to be able to make the calls and transition, and it's going to be smoother than, say, a true freshman coming in who's learning how to play college football versus a guy who's been through it, understands the game, understands how they need to communicate, how to recognize an offensive set and then make the changes according to that set. We'll see. But at the same time, like I said, coach got to earn his money.
Okay, so let me put on your coach's hat because you sat there and said, hey, it's on the coaches. So you now have transfers. Okay, we got some in the secondary, your area of expertise. How are you going to go ahead and compete against Frank Signetti Jr., who likes to go ahead, run the ball, get those safeties, our safeties, to commit into the box, and then what does he like to do? He likes to go over the top, and he's got a pretty good receiver in Kanate Mumpfield there, who transferred in from Akron, who was a freshman All-American last year. So they did lose Jordan Addison, the Fred Biletnikoff Award winner last year, but they also brought in this young guy, and they have, of course, other receivers in Wayne and Bubba Means. But it looks to me like Mumpfield's that one guy, and Signetti always likes to have that one receiver that he focuses on. So how do you defend suck you up, feed the ball, feed the rock here into the Panthers, and then he goes over the top?
You defend it, and just my experience with the strong safety, with a player who can do both things, right? What they're going to have to do, they're going to have to disguise their coverages, and then they're going to roll a guy in for run support, or they're going to show a run support and then roll a guy back. And like you said with Signetti, what he wants to do and what they're going to have to do, think about it. They have, 3 super seniors, 6-year seniors on offensive line. Mm-hmm. They have a good running back, new quarterback, new offensive coordinator with a defensive-minded coach. What do you think he wants to do? He wants to run the football. He wants to shorten the game. He wants to get his team comfortable to do exactly what you said. I want to run the ball first down, run the ball second down, play action pass third down, throw it over the top. So, in my opinion, West Virginia is going to have to do a really good job on first down. They have to do a really good job on first down, create predictable situations defensively to force Pitt in predictable passing situations. If they get in a situation on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, where you can play action pass, that's where it may be a problem for us. But you're talking about West Virginia side and what their defense coach is going to do. Like I said, they're going to disguise coverage. They're going to roll a safety in. You're going to have him play back, but then he's going to come up and support and do some things with the free safety corners on those sides. So that's what they'll do. It might be a little bit technical. I don't know if the average fan understands what I'm saying, but you'll see a guy playing against a guy, and it's going to be a safety playing against the quarterback. And that quarterback's going to have to figure out exactly what that safety's doing. Is he playing back in coverage? Is he playing in the box? If he's playing in the box, then they're going to throw the ball. If he's playing back in coverage, they're going to run the ball. That's what's going to happen.
That's like you said. It's a disguise. Mm-hmm. You got to make that quarterback make a real fast, quick decision, and by disguising that, you're limiting that ability. You're not letting him just sit there and study it and make that call. You're disguising, and now you got to make the right call, because if you don't, you're in trouble.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised if, to your point, Joe, they're going to give a predictable look, but move guys on the snap. Or they're going to be rolling guys pre-snap to bluff and then move back into coverage. So it's good, gamemanship. That's what it's about. It's, that's what's fun about this game, and it being the first game. Everybody's happy, right? Everybody's happy. Everybody's undefeated.
Yeah, nobody's lost.
Nobody's lost.
Nobody lost.
And the great thing about today, nobody knows what's going to happen because it's the first game, and I'm really excited. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how we compete. The one thing that I will say about Neil Brown, we haven't had the most consistency on the offense. But boy, do those guys play hard on defense. And
Jordan Leslie's the defensive coordinator, right?
The last 3 years, they played very, very hard. They compete on defense. So I see us showing up.
So just let me add this last thing in. I wasn't going to bring it up because I don't want to go into weeds with this. But Neil Brown has been talking all season long, and he's got those long, fast athletes in the secondary now. So he's saying we could not play man last year. We disguised, but it always usually ended up as zone. Okay, not to get in the weeds, but what has to happen when you are moving your defense to play more man coverage?
You got to get to the quarterback.
There you go.
You're playing man coverage because you're bringing an extra defender to rush the quarterback, and so you got to get home. And if you don't get home, guess what happens? They have more time to run, and they have more time to develop the pass. And the quarterback is comfortable in the pocket, and he's going to drop it down. And so, if he said they couldn't play man-to-man coverage because he didn't believe in the talent of his players, that's really what that statement says. Versus they didn't have the ability to rush the quarterback. So we'll see. Hey, it's the first game of the year. We're gonna find out.
This brings this up to me, and Wolf, you've been talking about it and alluding to it the whole time we've been chatting. Neil Brown and his culture. One of the things that I thought we were lacking last year is a true killer instinct. Finishing the job, fighting until it was over, and at times it just didn't look like we were, the killer instinct. I sure hope they bring that to the table tonight.
Yeah, and that killer instinct starts with the offensive line.
Right on.
It really does.
The skill position.
The most important players on the team are the offensive line. They're going to set the tone for the game, and if they can physically impose their will, if they can create space for the running backs, if they can create a pocket for their quarterback, then we're going to have some success offensively. And also, they have to come out with a sense of tenacity, a little bit of aggressive nature, kind of a little spit in your face, push it down, don't help the guy up attitude. That's what we need. And if those guys do that, they bring that honestly, I'm looking at a former teammate, Tom Robson. I'm looking at a former teammate, Dale Wilson. That's how they play.
Yeah.
They had a little bit more of an attitude. They're a little bit more aggressive, and what that does though is that permeates throughout the team, and you become, and the team carries that.
That we feed off each other.
We do. We really do. But the offensive linemen, they are the most important players on the team, and it's going to. And I'm telling you, it's going to be extremely important for this game today.
Okay. Hey, Mike, I want to say thank you. We're going to wrap this up. We want to thank Milo Ritten here. The owner Clark's and Parmar Storage for hosting this. Hey, Darryl, come here, man. Let's go. I want a final prediction here. What do you say? Darryl Talley, what do you say?
I couldn't hear what you said.
Prediction, man. Give me the score. Yeah.
I say we win 24-21.
Well, that's a normal West Virginia game score, man. Yeah.
It's a backyard fight. It's somebody, the last person with the ball is going to win the game. I think it's going to be two great defenses going against each other instead of two good offenses.
All right, very good. Hey, Mike, what do you say? What's your prediction?
I kind of agree with Darryl. I don't know if I agree with the score, though. I think it's going to be a little bit more scoring. I think it's going to be a closer, like a 35-31 type game. I got my West Virginia colors on, so I'm saying we're going to win, but we're going to need to score points. We're going to have to score points. The thing is, like I was saying about their offensive line, our offensive line, they're going to beat the ball, but they're going to try to shorten the game. So we need to score points to win the game. I predict us 33-27.
All right, 33-27 from Captain Mike Collins. How about Captain Tommy Robsop? What's your prediction?
I think West Virginia runs the ball for almost 200 yards on the ground. I think we tie the game 31-31 in the fourth quarter, and West Virginia wins 34-31 in an overtime field goal.
Well, you went deep on that one.
You're
going overtime.
I'm going overtime. Mountaineers.
All right, Mountaineers, let's go. Come on in, man. How's this? Hey, what did you tell Bryce here about the backyard brawl?
I didn't have to tell Bryce a whole lot. He grew up around it. He grew up hearing the stories. He grew up going to all the games. He watched everything. He's one of the biggest Mountaineer fans I ever come across. When Bryce was young, I'm sorry, I don't know if we got time to tell a story. Anytime we find out what Bryce is doing, he's watching highlight films of West Virginia football in his room. So he knew all the history going into it. I didn't have to tell him a thing. He knows what it's about. He knows what's on the line, and he's going to put it on the line today.
So he's watched a lot of me blocking for you.
That dusty film didn't come out today. So, but yeah, he's seen all that. He's a big fan.
What's the score? What's it going to be?
31-21 West Virginia.
31-21 in West Virginia. That leaves Mr. Big Bad Brian Joswiak. What is going to be your prediction, your outtake of the outcome of the 105th edition of the Backyard Brawl?
All these guys have said about, we're going to win close, overtime. Big Rob Sox said we're going to go into overtime. I think this whole game hinges on, and it starts right in the middle with Zach Frazier and the offensive line of West Virginia. If we can play a great game and give that quarterback some opportunity, they're going to roll in about 2 or 3 running backs. We're going to get the running game going. Graham. This Graham guy is going to be a good caller tonight, and we're going to get it going. And at the end of the day, we're going to win the ball game. I don't know what the score is, and quite frankly, I really don't give a crap what the score is. All I know is if we play lights out, we play mistake-free football, we play Mountaineer ball. We got a real good opportunity of winning a game tonight.
Okay, Mountaineer ball.
Mountaineer win. Mountaineer win. I don't care what the score is. Mountaineer win.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to just leave it at that. Except I'm going to say this. It's gonna be this. 1975, 17-14. Mountaineers.
There we go.
Take it. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a battle of the trenches. It's going to be attrition in the box. And what's going to happen is whoever wins that attrition in the box, whoever wins the physicality in the box, inside those white lines, is going to take some shots over the top, and big plays will come. But it's going to derive from the victor of the box.
Simple. I mean,
we've
been talking about that most of this show is how important owning the box. It's like DT was saying. We gotta create some space in there. They're gonna bring the heat. We got to get after it.
The box in the battle of the backyard. I mean, that's what it is. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to end it because you'll just keep talking, and I'm cutting you off right now. Just like over here, that pecan got cut off at the bar. We'll go with that. All right. And anything. Hey, listen, great first show. Obviously we got over some of those technical problems, but hey, we got to talk to legends and talk about the game, the Backyard Brawl. Joes, what's your thoughts? Let's close it up.
I can't thank these guys enough for being here. We're Mountaineer brothers, and we're all Mountaineer legends, man. Whoever has put that wing V on WV on the side of their hat and gone out there and done battle knows exactly what I'm talking about. We're a brotherhood. We're all part of this thing together, and that's a really beautiful thing because it transcends over the years. From Andy back in the 70s all the way up to the guys that are playing right now tonight, and we love them and we wish them all the best. I can't say enough about that, man. Mountaineer brotherhood. There's nothing more special than that, Wolf. Nothing more special.
Couldn't agree more. And Darryl Talley seconds it. So again, we thank Parmar Stores. This is the first pregame of Mountaineer Legends pregames for the season. We'll be coming back next 9-10 days from now.
Yeah, we'll be down at Myrtle Beach for the Kansas game. And you know what? By then, we're going to have some great things to talk about. Hopefully, we're breaking down a West Virginia win over Pitt.
Okay, you're okay.
What did I say?
I said it.
Did we fix it? Did we fix it, Mike?
But when I say win, I meant we beat.
Exactly.
Okay, so with that being said, we want to thank Matheny Motors. We want to thank, obviously, Artisan Grange Company, right? Knock the tobacco out. Knock the nicotine out, man. Just switch to hemp.
That's right.
Just the dip. Artisan Grange Company hemp. Very good. And Of course, it was. Oh, the Tap House in Morgantown. We want to thank the Tap House. We will be there.
We'll be there.
For this season, a couple games. So we got a lot going on. Let's beat the Pitt Panthers. Let's win. Let's go Mountaineers. Boom.